Men and women, welcome back to CJ Unplugged. The stock market has crashed. We're going to another recession, a Great Depression this week with what happened to the stock market. I'm sure you guys are all aware. I was not. I don't have any money in the stock market that the IRS knows of. No, I actually do. But it was a big story, as you guys know, a few days ago. I think Sunday or Monday it hit, and everything went down over 20%, which isn't good because I have a lot of money in NVIDIA. I have been stealing objects from the studio here and selling them on eBay, and then putting that money into NVIDIA and other AI companies, and I've been doing pretty good for myself, and then it crashed. And so I'm now down hundreds of dollars and being investigated for theft in this studio. So that's not good news, but I looked at the market today. We're back up, I think, 10 or 12%, something like that. And it's good news because then I can then sell my stocks and return the items that I stole from the studio. So I apologize to the studio. Any workers are listening, if some markers and some computer parts went missing. It's a tough world out there, and I have to make a living. I have to fund myself somehow, buy groceries and rent. So that's what I've been doing. I don't steal from stores, just random objects around here, and sell them on eBay. So good news is the stock market is back. It's still down a little bit, but we're slowly working our way back up. It's looking good, and I thought I might bring that up because a lot of you guys I know are big finance bros and women, finance bros and gals. Sisters, bros and sisters. Everything will be okay, so don't worry. In other news, this story I thought, as you know in the show, I talk about super fun, non-political stories, sometimes political. Sometimes we get in there a little deep and ugly. But drones warned New York City residents about some flooding, and they did it in Spanish. So as you know, a lot of the migrants from the border have been sent over to New York City and other safe, what do they call them? Safe cities? Sanctuary cities, such as Chicago, I believe LA is one, New York City, everywhere but where they come in from. Texas is not a sanctuary state. Neither is, I think, any of the cities around it. So, but yeah, this is a fun story. New York emergency management officials have apologized for a hard-to-understand flood warning issued in Spanish by drones flying around New York City. This is the future, folks. Anytime something happens, you're not going to hear it on the news. You're not going to hear it from your neighbor. You're not even going to hear it from the president himself. You're going to have a drone flown by a 17-year-old being paid minimum wage to fly in your backyard and tell you, hey, by the way, Russia just nuked us. But it's going to be in Spanish. So you're going to have to sit out there with your phone and the translator, and it's going to be yapping at you. And it's just going to be talking Spanish and Chinese and Russian and any other language other than English, telling you that the nuke is hit and you must evacuate. This is hilarious. I mean, they're so lazy they couldn't go door to door or maybe just send out a national, those emergency things on your TV. Because no one watches TV anymore. Everyone's on their phones. They have to do it on Instagram and Facebook. Do people even watch TV anymore? The percentage is quite low. I don't watch TV. I watch Netflix maybe, but it's not TV. I don't think it classifies. So this is what they're doing now. They're sending out warnings via drones. City officials have touched the high-tech message delivery devices ahead of expected flash flooding on Tuesday. I didn't even know it flooded in New York City. I know it rains a lot. But when video of drone delivering the warning in English and Spanish was shared widely on social media, users quickly mocked the pronunciation of the Spanish version delivered to a city where roughly a quarter of all residents speak the language at home. You know why that is? You know why a quarter of the residents speak Spanish in New York City? It's because of the buses that are sending them there. I wonder what the stat looked like, 5 years ago. It's probably less than 25%. How is that the Spanish version? It's almost incomprehensible. Well, yeah, if you don't speak Spanish, if you're someone like me, I actually took 3 years. I could probably know some. But if you went to college and you were on your phone during Spanish class, paid no attention, barely passed with a C+, and you're sitting in your overpriced apartment, it's $5,000 a month for a single bedroom or a studio in New York City, and a drone flies in your window and starts yapping Spanish at you, of course you're not going to understand. It's going to sound incomprehensible because you don't speak Spanish. So learn Spanish and other languages, because it might be Russian next time, might be Chinese. So learn all of the languages, so that way you're more prepared next time when they evacuate you and your family and your dog, whatever cat, whatever animals you want to bring with you. Some of you have tarantulas. And pack up your stuff and get ready to go. Just be on standby because these drones are coming. It's hitting New York City. It's going to hit LA and Chicago next. This is actually really fun. I wonder if this is going to be the new thing for any national emergencies. They're just going to fly drones around. This would be, it's a good use of them, I guess, because the drones in my neighborhood, I live in Spokane. We're not getting a drone warning. The only drones I see are flown by 12-year-old brat neighbors just trying to spy on you. Maybe get a peek through the window at your sister changing or something. I don't know. The city couldn't find a single person who spoke Spanish to deliver this alert, another user wrote. So from my understanding of the story, it was a white man that doesn't even speak English. It was probably Joe Biden. They probably had Joe Biden on the microphone reading off a list. No wonder it was incomprehensible. Just reading off a list of, folks, El Burrito. I just kept going down the list. This is interesting, though, that out of a city that is 25% Hispanic or Spanish speaking, they couldn't find anybody who actually spoke Spanish to deliver the message. So I understand this confusion and catastrophe. It's unfortunate because it sounds like literal Google translation added another. That's probably what it was. Joe Biden has dropped out of the race, and now he has 5 months left until January. So this is his job. He's trying to fulfill his role as president and read off national emergencies in another language to New York residents. One of the city emergencies management commissioners acknowledged on X that the muddled translation shouldn't have happened and promised that officials were working to make sure it doesn't happen again. So this is just a hint towards it will happen again, because they're going to use these drones again the next time something big happens. In a follow-up post, he provided full text of the message as written in Spanish and explained that the problem was the recording of the message, not the translation itself. Israel's agency said the message was computer-generated and went out in historically flood-prone areas and the 4 cities. Is this why NVIDIA crashed? Is because they were using AI? They tried using AI to read off a speech in Spanish, or maybe they just made the Spanish text in the AI. Or maybe they had AI read it. AI was flying the drone, it made the script, and it also read the script. So AI is taking over the world. This was all NVIDIA's fault, and that's why it crashed. That's why I lost hundreds of dollars. It's because NVIDIA decided that it would be a good investment to make drones as emergency warners. I don't know what they're called. And send them out to New York City and other areas like Chicago and LA on standby. They're ready. I don't know what Chicago gets. Blizzards and flurries. They're delicious at Dairy Queen. Anyways, so this is the future. I think AI really messed up big time on this one, clearly. Maybe it wasn't Biden. Maybe it was AI Biden. Never know. Maybe the Biden right now is AI Biden. That's all we have left. But the flash floods have been deadly for New Yorkers living in basement apartments, which can quickly fill up a deluge. I think that's how you pronounce that. 11 people drowned in such homes in 2021 as the remnants of Hurricane Ida drenched the city. In follow-up emails Wednesday, the agency noted that the drone message effort was a first-of-its-kind pilot for the city and was developed and approved following our standard protocols, just like all of our public announcements. It declined to say what changes would be made going forward. Well, hopefully the changes going made forward is not going to be NVIDIA and their AI system, using AI to warn everybody that their basement's going to be flooded to get off Fortnite and the new Call of Duty. Is the new Call of Duty out? NCAA 25, whatever game you're playing in your basement right now in New York City, if you're listening to this from New York City, just get out. Go up to the top floor. I bet those basement ones are probably much cheaper for that reason. And by cheaper, I mean from $5,000 to $4,800 a month. In an interview with the New York Times, Iskall credited Mayor Eric Adams with the initial idea. We live in a bubble and we have to meet people where they are in notifications so that they can be prepared, the Democrat said at a press briefing Tuesday. Adams, whose office didn't immediately comment Wednesday, is a self-described tech geek. Anybody who identifies as a self-described tech geek is not someone you should trust, whose administration has embraced a range of curious to questionable technological gimmicks. No kidding. So this mayor, yes, Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City, a self-described tech geek, this is his idea. So this is who you got to blame. His office raised eyebrows last year when it started using artificial intelligence to make AI, there it is, NVIDIA, robocalls that contorted the mayor's own voice into several languages he doesn't actually speak, including Mandarin and Yiddish. This is great. So the next warning you get is going to be when Israel decides to switch up and goes, hey, we're not getting money anymore from you guys, not getting a whole lot of support. We've seen the protests. We're actually going to aim this next missile at you guys, and it's going to be Eric Adams speaking Yiddish to New York people, just warning the Jews to get out. And all the Americans, everyone else who doesn't speak Yiddish, which by the way is 99% of people, aren't going to get the warning. They're going to stay in their basement playing Fortnite and NCAA 25. And they're going to go, what is that noise outside? You remember when they had Jews in the tunnels underground, that guy on X that was like, I hear Yiddish in the floorboards. It's going to be that all over again. Everyone's going to go, shut up. Get back on the game. And then they're going to drown because the drone is speaking Eric Adams' voice is going to be speaking Yiddish to you in your basement while the whole city is flooding. Just get used to that. That's happening. That will happen. The administration has also tapped drone technology to monitor large gatherings and search for sharks on beaches. I didn't even know they had sharks in New York City. I guess that makes sense. There's sharks all around the coast, east and west. But monitor large gatherings. This is what they say it's only for. But in 5 years, they're going to arrest somebody for robbing an ATM or stealing candy from a grocery store. And they'll be like, yeah, we actually followed you home in a drone. You didn't hear us yelling at you? And he's like, I saw something in the sky screaming at me in Yiddish. I didn't know what it meant. So I continued on my journey. This is reality in 2024. It's just going to get better from here. The city's police department, meanwhile, briefly toyed with using a robot to patrol the Times Square subway station. Now, this is actually, people are always worried about AI and robots taking over jobs and technology. It's happening now here in New York City, which of all the cities makes sense because it's New York, right? Last month, it unveiled a new AI-powered scanners to help keep guns out of the nation's busiest subway systems. That pilot effort, though, is already being met with skepticism from writers of the threat of a lawsuit from civil liberties advocates. Can you not have a gun on the subway? The subway in New York City, I've been on it, is like the number one transportation for probably 90% of the residents. Not a whole lot of people have cars in New York City. If you do, you're probably an Uber or a food delivery person. So even then, they have bicycles for that. So the fact, I didn't know you can't carry guns. I mean, these Americans, I don't know what their concealed and open carry laws are, but you have the right to carry a gun. If you can't bring it on the subway, that's like everyone's transport. You just got to walk around with it, I guess, isn't that even more dangerous? I don't know. Maybe not. Sidebar, we have Grant in the studio today. This is Grant. He's my one and only solo piece of outdoor decor at my apartment. This is his first appearance, and he means a lot to me. He has a lot of sentimental value. I picked him up at a Ross for $7, and he served me well. I hide my key under there, so now that I said that on the podcast, I can no longer do that. But yes, my key hides under this guy. He also plays part in security. He watches over the neighbors and tells me all the drama. I don't even have to go out there myself. I don't have to go out there and pretend to sweep the patio or whatever it is the neighbors do to spill in on the tea. He just tells me. He listens to all the information and he reports back to me. Yeah, the use of drones for prohibiting guns or scanning guns, I don't know how it works. It just says to help keep guns out of the nation's busiest subway system. The idea that that's better than the police or security or National Guard or whoever is down there in the subways making sure people don't shoot up the subway, which has probably happened, is hilarious. I mean, we have people for this job. The amount of NYPD officers there is, I mean, I think it's the largest, maybe next to LAPD. Yeah, the NYPD's got to be the largest police force in the United States. And apparently they don't have enough people to make sure that people aren't shooting each other in the subways. They have to get these drones. And I don't know what the drones are going to do. Do the drones have guns? The drones have little machine gun turrets on there? Can you imagine? You have your gun just in your pocket. You have your hood on. You're walking around in there. All of a sudden a drone pops up with an mini AK-47 and just points it at you and says, hey, buddy. But it's in Yiddish, remember? I don't even know how to speak Yiddish. Mandarin. Maybe it's in Mandarin. And it just tells you, put that gun away. Another fun story would be a Reddit user kicked out of a wedding reception for ordering pizza while the bride's family devours the buffet. A Reddit user who was kicked out of a wedding after he ordered a pizza when the reception ran out of food should have been more discreet and behaved himself better, an etiquette expert told Fox News Digital, although the story does have a happy ending. Let's get to that happy ending, shall we? AITA for ordering pizza at my friend's wedding because there was no food? Asked user Adorable Distance 15 in a recent post on the Am I the A-Hole subreddit, an advice forum. Now, if you have to go to a subreddit to figure out if the decision you're making is good or bad, it's probably a bad decision. If you even have to ask somebody, it's probably a bad decision. Because if it was a good decision, you just know right off the bat to do it. But the fact that this is the world we live in now. We go to social media and Reddit to figure out if decisions we make at a wedding, ordering a pizza at a wedding, probably isn't the smartest move, right? In the post, the man said his wife recently attended his friend's wedding, which had about 70 guests, mostly family. When we got there, we were seated at the table with some other people, nice people, and we mingled well and had a good time chatting, he wrote. That's a lie. The reason he ordered a pizza is he was tired of talking to these people. The wedding was also quite nice. Both my friend and his new wife were very happy. After the wedding ceremony, the tables were all given 2 bottles of wine, bread, butter, and the bar was opened, he said. Then the food came out. It looked really good, he said, noting that the wedding reception was a buffet style. I was half buzzed and looking forward to getting some food in my belly. That's the daddy giveaway right there. I mean, we're all hungry. I'm guilty of it too. When dinner began, tables were then called to the buffet, a few at a time. You guys been to a wedding. This is what happens. You have a table number, and there's probably, 70 people, maybe 7 tables, more or less, give or take. My last wedding I went to, I was table number 15 out of 18. So I feel this guy's pain. Waiting for that food, especially if it's like someone that you're not even that close with. Now, I was close with the people at my wedding, so I was okay to wait. And there was like baby pictures of them I could make fun of and take pictures for blackmail. It was great. But if you're at a wedding where you don't really know the people, maybe it was like a high school buddy and you only know him and his wife and like 2 other friends, and you sat down at a table with his aunt and his bratty little nieces and nephews, I understand. I'm leaning toward more, help understanding this guy, where he's coming from. Now, I don't shame people for how much they eat. Wrong. But I noticed the helpings of food they had while I was patiently waiting for us to be called, he said. I also noticed that they went for seconds before all the tables were called and no one stopped them. I'm officially on this guy's side. This is ridiculous. Now, the table I was at the wedding, there was no seconds until everyone was done. Be polite. This must be in the South. I guarantee it was in Ohio or something like that. It's not even the South. Is it Ohio? That's the Midwest. This must have been a, Tennessee wedding or something like that. But the fact that people were going back for seconds before he even got served, he was probably table like number 5, is pretty ridiculous. At the time, he said that he thought that the behavior was rude and he assumed there was just a lot of food. He added, to my surprise, by the time we were called, there was nothing left. Big surprise. Now, that shouldn't happen in all-you-can-eat buffet. I haven't been to a buffet in a long time, but I know when something runs out, there's a chef in the back that's going to bring it back up in about 5 minutes. But when you're at a wedding venue, on a farm, out of service, 35 minutes away from the city, they don't exactly have a chef in the back just whipping up tacos and mac and cheese, whatever they have here. So I understand this man's frustration. After grabbing the scraps that were left, we were all still pretty hungry and felt a bit angry. So we kind of bash-talked the first few tables that ate all the food. Now, this is a little dangerous move here because this isn't your wedding, buddy. But I understand your frustration. After someone suggested getting pizza, he had the drunken idea of ordering some. So we all pitched in and ordered 4 large pizzas and some chicken wings from a local joint close to the venue so it didn't take long to be delivered. Now, this guy's looking out for everybody, right? This is the hero that we all need. This is the hero of Gotham. I met the guy outside and brought the food to our table, and we started to eat. Other tables of hungry people noticed the pizza, so we shared it with them. He did the right thing. People were even mad. I mean, can you imagine being table number 1? You've had seconds, maybe even thirds, and you're full. But you see pizza across the table, and you're like, dude, I got to go get some of that. They're not even mad. No one was mad. So we got to find out who gets mad. This caused some commotion, apparently, and people began asking the wedding party if there were more pizzas available. That was mistake number 1. Don't go to the bride and groom about the pizzas that they have no idea is happening, right? They just got married. Let them sink it in, all right? My friend came to talk to me about why I ordered the food because his bride was not happy about it. So I told him that we didn't get any food to eat and the food ran out long before our table was called and we were still very hungry. What were we supposed to do? What were we supposed to do? Fantastic question. It sounds like he already had the answer for it. He did what he did. He ordered pizza, ordered 4 pizzas for himself, his table, and everyone else. He shared. He did the right thing. I'm totally on this guy's side now. At first, it sounded like he was just drunk and annoyed and just ordered pizzas to be annoying, but he was actually saving the entire wedding. I asked other people at my table if they wanted one. There was 2 slices left. Everyone declined. This guy then said he'd have one. I then took the 2 slices, put them on my plate, and started to eat them. Then looked at him and said something like, no, you and everyone at your tables had way more than your fair share of the buffet and ate all of it. This is the reason we ordered the food in the first place. And now you have the nerve to ask us to share? Ooh, it's getting spicy now. At the time, he did not know it was the bride's father. Uh-oh. The man's face went red and he returned to his table where there was a lot of discussion going on there, the Reddit user wrote. This is so fun that this is a Reddit story, or the chance that this is true is probably very slim. People write a lot of things on Reddit and social media, and I have trouble believing any of it. But if this is true and these events have taken place, this is pretty great. The bride looked even more ticked off at us. She had a bit of argument with my friend, and he eventually came back to where he told us to leave. I didn't mean to start any problems, so me and my wife called a cab and left. A few days after the wedding, his friend called and shared his side of the story. Let's hear it. He agreed that his in-laws were really rude for eating all the food and leaving most of the other guests with very little, he said, mentioning that half the guests left the wedding reception once there was no food left, which was probably the correct thing to do. Just leave. I mean, that makes more of a statement, right? Than sticking around and ordering pizzas, just leaving, being like, screw this. Congratulations, you guys are married. I'm out. I'm going to Wingstop. He was very upset with his in-laws because he told them how many guests there would be and to order the food to many people. So obviously they didn't order enough. The Reddit writer continued, he brought this up with his wife, and so she said that apparently because the in-laws paid for the alcohol and the food, they felt entitled to eat what they wanted. She was really mad at them and reamed out for them for tainting her special day. I think this is where the story ends. I don't know how there's more to the story. It just sounds like it was solved right there, but it goes for a long time. I don't know if I want to read the rest, but it sounds like the problem was solved. He was at the wedding. Food ran out because of the first 4 tables, ate all of it, and ordered pizzas, shared it, and the day was saved. So I don't know why this is much of a story. It's probably not even true. I don't know what kind of fact checking they did. But if I had to guess, it was a Tennessee wedding with a bunch of Southern people on the larger side. It's just my best educated guess given the facts here. Yeah, good for him, I guess. I don't know. Both this Tim Walz and J.D. Vance, Trump's VP pick, have been described as weird in the media for just some speeches and things they've said that's been going around. But I was actually driving on the freeway home Monday, 2 days ago, and I saw a Mountain Dew truck. It was like a Mountain Dew van. It was weird. And there was little windows on the side. I'll probably pull up a picture, but you could barely see through them. And I was driving by and I just took a peek and I was like, what? J.D. Vance was in the back of this Mountain Dew truck just slamming Diet Mountain Dews and reading the Constitution. I kid you not. I saw J.D. Vance slamming Diet Mountain Dews and proofreading the Constitution. And it was like a little bit of an office back there. There was like a folding chair and a folding table, like a MacBook. And just there was a pile. It was a quick glance. I looked for 3 seconds, and I was driving. What? I didn't even wave at him. I don't think he noticed me. He was looking the other way, but he was just slamming Diet Mountain Dews and reading the Constitution. And he had his laptop pulled up with some sort of story. Like I said, it was 3 seconds. I didn't get much of a look, but I did see him back there. Quite interesting. I don't know what he's doing in Spokane, Washington. I don't know if Trump and him are campaigning here, if he was driving over to Idaho. Was he the governor? What was he the governor of? J.D. Vance, or what was he? Huh? He was the governor of Ohio, so he's pretty far from home. But that was just a fun story I thought I'd share. So the next and final story I have for you today is the lottery winner that would not give his big brother a chunk of the money as his family is torn apart. They accused me of being selfish. Now, why would his brother get money? Let's find out. Again, a woman writing on Reddit, so this is definitely a true story. You can all trust Reddit. About a personal dilemma involving a lottery win and a financially desperate brother was deemed not in the wrong by the majority of other users on the social media platform. The post has received 3,600 reactions and 1,500 comments in less than a day. Describing herself as 28 years old, the woman calling herself Vederick wrote that she recently won a significant amount of money in the lottery. It wasn't a jackpot, but it was enough to make a big difference in my life. Now let's guess. A big difference in my life in 2024. $5,000. It's at around $500,000 pre-tax. She said she's always been pretty careful with money. Obviously, buying lottery tickets. That's what people that are careful with their money and budgeting do, is buy lottery tickets every day. I plan to use it to pay off my student loans, put a down payment on a house, and maybe start a small business I've always dreamed of. Now listen, sweetheart. $500,000 pre-tax isn't going to get you very far. After taxes, that's probably somewhere in the ballpark of $250,000, $300,000. Let's say safely $300,000, $325,000, right? So student loans, guessing she went to, I don't know, Florida. It's probably $100,000. I don't know, 4 years and interest. Let's say it's $50,000. And then a house, a down payment on a house, that's probably around, depending on what house you want. Now, she said she's smart with her money, so let's realistically look at a $400,000 house maybe, say another $50,000. So this is pretty realistic. I like this girl. She's got dreams. Then a family member found out about her winnings, and all things got very complicated. My brother found out about my winnings through our parents. She wrote about her 32-year-old brother. He's been struggling financially for years due to poor money management and some bad luck, and he has a lot of debt. Right, because she doesn't have poor money management buying lottery tickets, and she doesn't have any bad luck or debt with her student loans. I've seen him blow through your money before, right? Because you haven't. I haven't. None of us have. Not in this economy. The brother called her. She went on and congratulated me. Then then immediately asked if I could help him out with giving him $30,000 to pay off his debts and get back on his feet. I feel like this would happen to anybody, right? This is why you don't tell anybody you won the lottery. If I won the lottery, I would not tell anybody, not even my family, not even Slime. If I won the lottery, I would not tell anybody, not even my family, my friends. I would just disappear. I would probably change my name and go to Dubai, depending on how much I won, and start a new life there. So that was mistake number one, was telling anybody. I don't know how close she is with her family or parents, but clearly it got back to him, so not a smart move. The sister wrote that she sympathized, but felt like giving him such a large amount of money would not really solve his problems in the long term, which she's probably correct. This $30,000 he has in debt, which he says doesn't even say it's student loans. So we know it's not student loans, right? Because he would have said my $30,000 that I used to go to University of Washington. He has a gambling problem. This guy has been to the blackjack tables more time than I've been to the bathroom this year. So she said that she's seen him blow through money before, and I worry that this would just be another cycle. She's probably not wrong. He's going straight to the, is the Mirage closed? The Mirage closed down, didn't it? Yeah. He's going straight to Vegas, and he's blowing all that money on the blackjack table, so maybe this is a smart move by her. I would have done it. So she told him, she wrote in her post that she'd be willing to help him create a budget plan and even give him a smaller amount, like $5,000, to help with his immediate needs, but he got really upset. She said that he accused me of being selfish and not caring about her family. The woman added that her parents are split on the issue. My mom thinks I should help him out because family helps family, but my dad agrees that my brother needs to learn to manage his own finances. She wrote on the platform, I feel conflicted because I do care about my brother, but I also believe in being responsible with my own money and making sure it lasts. It's really hard to trust people who say this when they buy lottery tickets. Maybe this was a one in the blue. Maybe she buys one on the weekends for fun, just once. Or maybe she buys multiple every single day. And then once she wins, she finally wins $500,000. She tells everybody, I'm so financially smart and I'm glad I deserved this with my $100,000 in student loan debts and my addiction to these lottery tickets. So she asked others, Reddit, for not giving my brother a larger portion of my lottery winnings despite his financial struggles. Fox News Digital reached out to a psychologist for thoughts on the matter. Here we go, a professional. A Reddit user in the top upvoted comment of the post wrote, it is your money to do with as you wish. After taxes, it will seem to be a lot of money, but do the math. Your own expenses in your life, and you will realize it won't nearly last as long as it might seem. The same writer added, it's a good buffer to give yourself some room to feel more comfortable taking some risks and pursuing your own life goals. Take advantage of that. Protect it. And ignore the noise from the others. So end of the story, she doesn't give her brother money. Neither should she. I wouldn't. Like I said, I wouldn't tell anybody. And if people found out, I'd probably hire a hitman to take him out, honestly. I'm sorry for my best friend of my entire life for 20 years. If you found out I won the lottery, you are going missing on your next hiking trip. That's all I can say. I'm gonna turn into the Clintons. Clintons are old. They're what, in their 70s and 80s? We need a new crime family, all right? We need a new boss. Mama's getting old. We need a new crime boss. It's going to be taking people out. It's been pretty boring recently. Ever since Epstein and whatnot, people aren't dying. I want that to happen again. It's horrible. Everything I say on this podcast is a joke. But we need another mob boss taking out people left and right. We need people going missing. We need people drowning in 6 inches of pond water. We need cars crashing into trees again at 100 miles an hour. We need journalists to go missing, certainly, some of them. And I think that's what I would do. If I won the lottery, I would be very careful. I would not tell anybody. Only if I won millions. If I won $25,000, I don't really care. But if I won the Powerball, if I was up a few hundred million, nobody would know. And if they did, bye-bye. That's just the truth. One thing I am curious about is number one issue on the voting right now is the abortion rights. That's what's on the ticket for Republicans and Democrats. The number one debated topic next to the border and the wars going on. I'm just curious because Kamala is running on the fact that she's going to bring back Roe versus Wade or bring back the right to choose to the United States, all 50 states, like a federal law, whatever it is. I haven't really heard her plan for it yet. Maybe there is a plan for it. I don't know. But I just know that at the speeches he talks about it. I just can't help but curious because the Supreme Court is the majority conservative. That's how Roe versus Wade was overturned, right? So And people are saying right now, well, you and Biden are president, so change it now. Change it now. You have 7 months left. Change it now. 6 months left. Whatever it is, change it now. Do it. But we all know it doesn't work like that. For example, Trump appointed 2 justices, I believe, 1 or 2 justices during his presidency, and Roe v. Wade didn't even get overturned until 2022. So clearly it takes a long time. So these people saying do it now, I kind of get it, but at the same time, this process is much longer. And I think the House just went on recess for like 6 weeks or whatever. But regardless, I don't understand how if she is reelected to do 4 years, or a Democrat, regardless if it's her or whoever, whatever Democrat is elected in 2024 and serves the next 4 years, with the Supreme Court still being majority conservative, and none of them are going anywhere anytime soon, I don't think any of the Supreme Court people are old enough to die, and they don't really retire. They usually stay in there till they're dead or very, very old. And I don't think any of the conservative ones appointed by Bush and Trump and former Republican presidents are going anywhere anytime soon. So I'm just curious how she is going to bring back abortion rights if that hasn't changed. You know what I'm saying? She could sign an executive order. I don't know if you can do that. I don't know the laws on that. Not very informed, but they also run on like Republicans and Trump being a threat to democracy. So would her becoming president and signing an executive order to bypass the Supreme Court and all that not be a threat to democracy a little bit? The only other way, I guess, would be to pass a bill through the House and the Senate. I think that trumps the Supreme Court. So if the Democrats can control the House and the Senate next election, I guess theoretically this can happen. But even then, if they control both the House and the Senate, you still have to have a majority vote. I think it's 2/3? Yeah, 2/3. So they'd have to have a very large win this November, for this, not just for the presidency, but not for just the presidency, but for the House and the Senate, like a lot. Because right now it's pretty neck and neck. I think Democrats control both, but it's by a handful of people. So that's just something I was curious about, because I heard a lot about her campaigning about that. I mean, it's the number one issue, right? I just don't understand how she could get that done. It's very curious. So just penny for your thoughts. I'll wrap it up with this. I almost died yesterday. I went bow fishing for the 3rd time ever in my life yesterday, and we went out to a lake pretty far away in the Badlands of Washington, eastern Washington. And I was wearing boots. It was hot out. It was probably 85 degrees, and I was inches away from death by a rattlesnake. Yes, we have rattlesnakes here in eastern Washington. I was walking a trail. I was with me and my dad. My dad was fly fishing. I was bow fishing. I was going for carp, relax. And we were walking along this trail. My dad goes, "Hey, just be careful for snakes around here. I'd be really surprised if we don't see a rattlesnake. I see them all the time." Last time I didn't see him. It was a little cooler though, earlier in the year. And we went, and 30 seconds after he said that, we walked 50 feet, and my dad passes this rock. I walk up to the rock, and right by my boot, right by my left stomper, there goes a fat one. He was probably this big around, like sausage size, I guess. I don't know what that big around that is. Thinner than this mic for sure, but I don't know. I don't know anything I can reference, but sausage thick. And he went right by my boot. I mean, I must have stepped on him or something, because he was foot. I don't know if you guys can see this. Foot snake. Stepped and it went shoo, and then it stopped, and I was like, "Oh wow, look at that thing." It was only like maybe that long. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it only had 5 rattlers though, 5 knobs, whatever they're called. So it was young, but man, it was eating good. And then we walked some more, saw another rock snake, or not a rock snake. We walked some more and saw a bull snake, which are harmless. I just shot it with the bow and ate it. Pretty tasty. And then I continued to shoot at carp all day for 8 hours, and I missed all my shots. I'm a terrible shot. To be fair, it was just a classic, just wooden string bow and arrow. There was no reticle or sights or literally anything. It was just point and shoot, and that's what it was. And some of them were real long. I mean, we're talking. I saw one that was probably 3 feet long. It looked like a shark. But yeah, unsuccessful. It also stormed. We were right under a thunderstorm, and we were in the middle of nowhere where there was no trees. And we were the tallest thing for a mile. My dad and I. I'm 6'1". My dad's 5'10" or whatever. Sorry, Dad, if I didn't do you justice. Say 5'11". It's fair enough. But yeah, we're the 2 tallest objects in this giant field. There was nothing else. And it came right above us. We saw a lightning strike just probably a mile away. And we were like, well, this might be it. This would be, pretty fun story, but really traumatic for the other one of us. And I know somebody that, I don't know somebody personally, but there's a story of someone that got struck like 19 times and lived. So Be a cool story to tell. Ultimate dad lore, right? If that happened to me, I mean, pretty cool story to tell your kids. But it didn't happen. We lived. Didn't get struck by lightning. Just rained a bit. Struck near us. We started running in circles because that's what you do when lightning strikes. Is you just run in circles. So I just started, practicing for the Olympics, doing like a figure eight. And it was fine. It was a fun trip. It was. Unsuccessful, but fun nonetheless. This weekend, I'll be going to Glacier National Park, I believe, with my best friend Nick. Should be fun. I'll take some pictures and videos and post on my Instagram, which you should go follow me on right now, at cadenkaiserman on Instagram. You can find a link to my YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, everything you need on there. I post clips, some funny stuff. So go follow me on Instagram. Skit YouTube channel coming soon. Still working on that. It'll be me and Nick. When more information on that comes up, I'll make sure to post and update you guys with the channel links and all of that fun stuff. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good night.